this Tuesday morning is the biggest topic of the week, probably the biggest topic of the year to this point, and that is Joe Burrow going down with a grade 3 case of turf toe. That means he's going to have surgery, and that surgery will sideline him for about the next 3 months. Now, there are a couple of silver linings here for the Bengals in what's an otherwise pretty terrible situation. The first silver lining is the fact that they now have a 2-0 cushion. They have not played very well through 2 weeks, but they get the win over the Browns last week in a bit of an uneven performance. And then they come back this week and they're able to beat the Jaguars with Jake Browning in there as their quarterback. And the presence of Jake Browning would provide the second silver lining. 2 years ago, Jake Browning started a bunch of games with them. They have confidence in him. And I think you see the reason for that confidence in that win over the Jaguars on Sunday. He threw 3 picks, but he was able to battle through all of that and lead a 92-yard touchdown drive to win the game in the end. Did they get some help? Sure. The questionable pass interference call that extended the drive on a 4th down against Travis Hunter was there. But Jake Browning was able to compartmentalize what had happened earlier in the game and fight through. I think you saw why the Bengals have so much confidence in Jake Browning, because he's able to get in there and operate their offense. I think he's better than some starting quarterbacks in the NFL as it stands right now. And so the idea that you could go in with Jake Browning as your starting quarterback is not a nightmare situation. So you have those two things. You have the 2-0 cushion. You have Jake Browning. And then the third silver lining here, I would say, is the schedule. It is relatively manageable over the next 3 months. And I have a Week 15 game against the Steelers, or against the Ravens, circled for Joe Burrow's return. That is exactly 3 months to the day of Joe Burrow's injury. Now, 3 months, of course, is an expedited timetable, but if he can get back there for that Week 15 game against the Ravens, if you look at their schedule, you can see a scenario where maybe they could go 6-5 over the 11 games between now and then. That will put them at 8-5 going into that Ravens game. Maybe different parts of their team grow as a result of not having Joe Burrow in there. And again, this is an optimistic view of it. But if they're 8-5 going into that Ravens game, they build some momentum there. Their last 3 games aren't over the top difficult. I could see the Bengals being in a situation where they could really hit the ground running when Burrow is back and build some momentum going into the playoffs. And as long as you've got Joe Burrow as your quarterback, this would be a dangerous team in January. The other question, of course, is what you do just as far as building some depth. And that's the discussions the Bengals are having right now. At what level do you address this? Do you go and just get another arm in there? Or do you swing for the fences a little bit more? Do you go and trade for a Jameis Winston? Do you inquire with the Falcons about a Kirk Cousins? Those are the things that you could do. As far as I'm concerned, the way I'd look at this, I would say any year you have, any chance you have to go into the playoffs with Joe Burrow as your quarterback, those are precious opportunities. And so if you've got if you can give yourself a better chance of getting into the tournament with Joe Burrow as your quarterback, you got to do it within reason. And so, it'd be costly to go out and get a Kirk Cousins. It costs a little more than maybe you wanted to spend on the position to go and get a Jameis Winston. But if that gives you some insurance against Jake Browning not playing as well, or something you want to monitor over the next few weeks as you see Jake Browning in the context as your starting quarterback, then I think it's something you have to consider.